A few weeks ago, the largest Pokemon regional of all time was held in San Diego, California, and people from all over the world gathered together to compete and prove that they were the very best. Some of the greatest players in the world were at the event. Wolf Glick, James Evans, Ji-Sok Lee, and hidden among these titans of the game was little ol' me. But by the end of the 2023 VGC season, I won't be little ol' Straw anymore. This is the year that I'm going to qualify for the Pokémon World Championships in Japan. This event was the start of that journey. Here's how I prepared and what went down. The VGC circuit uses different formats throughout each competitive season. Each season will allow different Pokemon. Sometimes it's extremely limited, like in 2011 where you were only allowed to use Pokemon that were introduced in Black and White. Or it could be extremely open, like in Generation 8, where at the end of the competitive season, you were allowed to use two powerful legendaries like Kyogre and Groudon on your team. Like everyone else, I had no idea what the official format was going to be for regionals at the start. Was it going to include Paradox Pokemon like Iron Hands and Fluttermane, the new sub-legendaries like Chi-Yu? No! Right before January, it was revealed that the first format for Scarlet and Violet, Series 1, was going to be all the non-legendary, non-paradox Pokemon in the Pokedex. Building a team in a limited format like this one is particularly tricky. In a format that allows powerful legendaries like Kyogre or Zacian, you can pretty easily figure out which of those busted Pokemon you want to center your strategies around. When the Pokemon are all much closer in power level, a lot more tools become viable, and there tends to be a lot more moving pieces to manage on your team. So, what did I do to tackle this team building challenge? I waited to see what everyone else would do at the first big unofficial tournament of the format hosted by Limitless, and figured I would use one of the teams that did well there as a starting point. Well, the Limitless tournament came and went, and with it, a whole bunch of archetypes started to show up. The winning team was aggressive, with Murkrow to set up Tailwind, and powerful Pokemon like Golden Go and Hydreigon to do huge damage. This team seemed strong, but not really my style. What really caught my eye was the second place team. Aaron Traylor, the longtime Worlds competitor and team building partner of the huge YouTuber and former world champion Wolfie Glick, took second place in the tournament, and something about his team spoke to me. Sylveon, Armarouge, Hydreigon, Meowscarada, and the poster children of Series 1 themselves, Dondozo and Tatsugiri. A great place to start. I quickly identified that I wanted to play a Dondozo team. They looked like a gimmick at first, but after playing a little bit with Aaron's team, I realized that Dondozo and Tatsugiri are both strong Pokemon by themselves. These two Pokemon are extremely modal, so just their inclusion on a team already creates a guessing game for your opponent in Team Preview, one that gets harder and harder for your opponents as you add the other 2/3 of your team to the equation. So, we have our starting point. A super flexible team with a Tailwind mode using Hydreigon, a Trick Room mode with Armarouge, Meowscarada, and a Balancey mode using any combination of the Pokemon on the team. Before I made any adjustments to the team, I wanted to get a feel for it. What it's strong into, what it's weak to, what Pokemon really felt like the core pieces of the team, and I played a lot of games. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of it, please consider subscribing. These videos are a lot of work from me and some very talented people behind the scenes, so I would really appreciate your support, so I can continue to share my journey to the Pokémon World Championships with all of you. Thank you. I worked on this team with a few friends. Scarlet, better known as 17 Cats, Max, and Aaron, also known as Rapti. Very early in the format, Scarlet was convinced the Volcarona was great, but after a little testing, we decided it probably wasn't the moth's time yet, so we moved on. We also tried Golden Go, one of the strongest Pokemon in the format, but it didn't really fill the role we needed it to on the team. Heck, I even tried Hariyama, but that didn't last more than a few games.
What he's doing? Why you bullying me?
After a lot of trial and error, here are the 6 we settled on, and what role each of them filled. Sylveon was a Pokemon we identified from the beginning to be extremely strong. Hard-hitting Fairy-type moves are great in a format where some of the most popular Pokemon are Annihilate, Murkrow, Meowscarada, Garchomp, and Hydreigon. There was just one problem with Sylveon. It kind of wants a Terra-type that gives a good coverage, like Fire or Water. But Sylveon can't really fit Terra Blast onto what we thought was its best moveset. Hyper Voice, Yawn, Protect, and Quick Attack. Hyper Voice and Protect are untouchable. Quick Attack felt important to pick off fast Pokemon that had been softened up, especially with quad weak to Fairy Pokemon like Hydreigon running around. And Yawn was an extremely important tool to deal with Skeledirge, a Pokemon this team struggled with throughout our testing. So, rather than go for a purely defensive Terra type, we went for Terra Fairy so our Sylveon could absolutely explode things with Hyper Voice. Our Sylveon ended up being Terra Fairy with a modest nature and Pixelate as its ability. We gave it a Throat Spray to hold and the moveset we talked about before. Its EV spread was set up to make sure it outsped Mousehold and Tailwind and survived a hit from a Terra Normal, Choice Band, Extreme Speed Dragonite, and a Make It Rain from timid Life Orb Golden Go while giving up as little damage potential as possible. If I had to play the tournament again, I would change literally nothing about Sylveon. Surprise! Remember when I said that we decided Volcarona wasn't worth testing? Well, it turns out that after we initially dismissed them off, Mousehold started to become popular on the Murkrow Tailwind teams, and our team struggled pretty hard into a lead of Mousehold plus Murkrow. Thanks to Volcarona's ability Flame Body, it was virtually guaranteed that if a Mousehold population bombed into Volcarona, the Mousehold would get burned, protecting our other Pokemon and neutering Mousehold for the rest of the battle. Volcarona ended up replacing the Hydreigon that was on Aaron's original team, because Hydreigon's coverage wasn't doing very much for the team, and Volcarona felt like a stronger Tailwind setter, while also providing decent damage with Fiery Dance and redirection support with Rage Powder. Volcarona was a roll compression Pokemon. It wasn't the best redirector, Tailwind setter, or Fire-type attacker in the format, but it was the only Pokemon that could do all three wrapped into one. We ran our Volcarona with Terra Grass to protect it from Water-type moves and Spore, gave it a bold nature to supplement its physical defense, and a Citrus Berry for extra survivability. We trained it to outspeed Pokemon like Serena, Titan, and Modest Golden Go. Its moves were Tailwind, Fiery Dance, Rage Powder, and Protect. As the team shifted, Armarouge started to feel less and less important. Its type overlapped with Volcarona, and Volk was the Pokemon I was most happy with on the team. So, we replaced Armarouge with Mousehold. Mousehold had a few roles. Encore, that'll be a big part of the Dondozo matchup, because catching a commander to Dondozo and Protect or Substitute is like getting 3 free turns of doing whatever you want. Population Bomb punishes any team without Rocky Helmet or Ghost types to pivot into, and Follow Me protects your other mons. We made Mousehold Ghost Terra type to make it extremely effective at redirecting moves like Close Combat and Extreme Speed. We gave it a wide lens to help guarantee Population Bomb hits, and a jolly nature. We gave it a moveset of Population Bomb, Encore, Follow Me, and Protect, and maxed out its EVs in attack and speed, dumping the remaining 4 points in its HP stat. Honestly, Mousehold was probably the weakest link on the team, but I'm not sure what I would have replaced it with. Meowscarada was one of the most common and most successful Pokemon in San Diego, probably because of the massive number of ways you can build it. Choice Band, Focus Sash, and Life Orb are all viable options on Meowscarada, and it has a super deep move pool. You can happily run 4 attacking moves, or a set with supporting moves, like Trick Room or Fake Tears. We identified that we wanted to be Focus Sash Meowscarada pretty quickly. Its defensive typing isn't great, so there were a lot of games Meowscarada would do something pretty impactful turn 1, then take enough damage that it would get knocked out if it wasn't for Focus Sash. Plus, Focus Sash has great synergy with Overgrow, virtually guaranteeing you'll get a hit in with Overgrow boosted Flower Trick. We ran an Adamant Meowscarada with Terra Ghost to dodge fighting type moves, Overgrow for extra damage, and a Focus Sash for survivability. We gave it Flower Trick and Knockoff for dual stab, Sucker Punch for priority, and Trick Room so we can reverse Trick Room if our opponent sets it up, or punish an opponent that sets up Tailwind. If I had to do it again, I would probably play Protect instead of Trick Room, so my opponents would have to think twice before attacking with both their Pokemon into Meowscarada. Finally, the centerpieces of the team, Dondozo and Tatsugiri. If Dondozo and Tatsugiri are on the field at the same time, Tatsugiri hops into Dondozo's mouth and gives it a 2-stage Omni Boost. People were bringing lots of different ways to try and beat the Dondozo combo, clearing away its boosts with moves like Haze from Murkrow or Clear Smog from Amoonguss, ignoring its offensive buffs and outlasting it with other unaware Pokemon like Skeledirge, or hitting it through its defensive boosts with critical hits from Scope Lens Hydreigon or Flower Trick Meowscarada. They're the kind of Pokemon where, if you remove the Pokemon that specifically are a threat to them, they are extremely difficult to remove, and that usually lets you win the game. But beyond that, Dondozo and Tatsugiri are both strong Pokemon by themselves. Dondozo is a slow, physical wall, and hits pretty hard with Wave Crash. You don't bring it by itself too often, but if you plan on going for a Trick Room option, or were in a matchup where Unaware was going to be particularly useful, it was worth a consideration. We ran Dondozo with Wave Crash, Order Up, Earthquake, and Substitute, and an Adamant nature. We gave it a Leftovers for passive recovery, and made it Terra Grass, so we could ignore Rage Powder, Spore, and so it would resist Flower Trick. We trained Dondozo to be extremely bulky, with very little speed investment. In hindsight, it should have been trained to be faster, and it would have been probably better to be Terra Flying instead of Terra Grass. Still resists Flower Trick, but just flat kills Amoonguss with Flying Terra Blast instead of trying to ignore it. Substitute was sick though. If you only have room for Substitute or Protect on Dondozo, play Substitute every time. Honestly, I think I brought Tatsugiri by itself more often than I brought it as part of the combo. This little dude has a huge special attack stat, and when you slap a Choice Scarf on him, basically nothing in the format outspeeds him without kind of speed buff of their own. We wanted Tatsugiri to be able to do 2 things well: hit Pokemon like Hydreigon, and help with speed control. We ran Tatsugiri with a Choice Scarf, Timid Nature, Max Speed, and Max Special Attack. We gave it a moveset of Draco Meteor, Muddy Water, Taunt, and Icy Wind. Taunt let us shut down Amoonguss and deny Trick Room. Honestly, I don't think I used Taunt once during the tournament, but I still think it was the right choice. We made it Terra Dragon, so it could one-shot Hydreigon with Draco Meteor, even if the Hydreigon Terra'd into a Fire type, and so Flower Trick from Meowscarada wouldn't one-shot it. So, there we have it. Meowscarada, Mousehold, Sylveon, Volcarona, Dondozo, and Tatsugiri, the team I was bringing to start my journey to Yokohama. How did the tournament itself go? Well, round 1, I played against a hard Trick Room team with Torkoal, Beat Up Frigarath, and Annihilate. I won this set 2-0 off the back of some really powerful population bombs and encores from Mousehold. Round 2, I played against another Dondozo Tatsugiri player with Goldengo, Murkrow, Amoonguss, and Bombardier.
Hey yo, what the?
I played scared because I wasn't sure what the weird stork thing would do and lost in 3 games because of it. 1-1. Round 3, I played against somebody running the Gavin Michaels Rain team. Mousehold just kind of population bombed through their whole team twice, and I won 2-0. 2-1 now. Round 4, I played against a friend of mine, Jeremy Boyd. He had a beat-up Annihilate team with Mousehold and Skeledirge. We labeled Skeledirge the enemy in testing because of how hard it was for our team to beat. Luckily, we had a lot of practice into it, and I managed to pull out the match in 3 games. 3-1 now. Round 5, I played against a pretty scary team with Weavile and Dragonite. Got stomped game 1, but games 2 and 3, I was able to use my redirectors to punish Extreme Speed Dragonite and take the set. 4-1. We're looking great. Round 6, I played against Cortex, the player that invented the Kyurem White hyper offense team that was popular towards the end of Sword and Shield. He had a team with a Trick Room and a Tailwind mode. I got game 1, but he kind of smashed me games 2 and 3. 4-2. If I wanted the top cut, I needed not to lose another game. Round 7, I played against a pretty stock, aggressive Murkrow team. This was a team I had plenty of practice into and knew what to do. But frankly, my opponent just played better than I did. I lost this set 2-1 to bring me to 4-3. Now I needed to play to top 64 or top 128. Either one would get me championship points, but if I lose another set, it's a gamble on if I make it or not. Round 8, I played against the exact same team I played into round 7. I didn't make the same mistake twice and win 2-0, 5-3 now. Round 9, I played into a rain team with Pelipper, Baxcalibur, Amoonguss, Dragonite, Rotom Wash, and Floatzel. I win game 1 with Dondozo, and game 2 with Meowscarada and Mousehold, putting on too much offensive pressure for my opponent to handle. 6-3 now. The final round was heartbreaking. I played into Murkrow, Azumarill, King Gambit, Garchomp, Meowscarada, and Goldengo. I win game 1 convincingly. Game 2, I end up in a spot where if my Tatsugiri hits a Draco Meteor, I win the game, and I miss. Game 3 is a similar situation. I need to hit their Goldengo with Muddy Water, and I miss. But it's okay. I have one more shot at it. I miss again. 6-4. I end this round frustrated, absolutely positive that I could have played better in another round I lost to avoid this little bit of bad luck, and afraid that I knocked myself out of championship points. The final standings go up, and there I am, 111th place. I just squeaked in. Top 128 puts me at 40 out of the 300 CP needed to go to Worlds. Not a lot, but it's a start. This was the best team I ever had for a regional, and I was frustrated I couldn't give it a better showing. But I know I can do better, and I will. Orlando, Florida. You're my next stop, and it'll turn out even better than this one. Thanks for watching.